All right, great to be with you. Meteorologist Mike Prengley, and we take a look. I want to thank Katrina for getting us on here. Thanks for your patience at home. Hey, we've got a new tropical depression. That's our breaking weather news. Tropical Depression 2, as of the 11 a.m. advisory, we've got sustained winds at 30 miles per hour, pressure at 1,011 millibars, moving north-northwest at 2. So my original call this morning, I said, we're going to have a named storm in the next 2 days. Well, it came sooner rather than later, and you can see the lot going on here. Well, first you got the X marks the spot, and we've got the hurricane hunters that'll be investigating the system in detail at 1 o'clock. So they're going to drop the drop signs in there and get us some better readings on the winds and what it's doing right now. But right now, winds 30 miles per hour, still it's become a little better organized. Some surface circulation as we went through the morning. We saw that overnight and this morning. And then we're now going to watch for those wind speeds, those sustained wind speeds that need to get to 39 miles per hour for this to be named a tropical system, which it should become, because if you look at the spaghetti models, yeah, they're basically going to have this thing meander to the west and northwest for maybe a few days. So it's going to be over some warm bath water. That'll tend to fuel this system and strengthen it and intensify it as we head into the next couple of days. So this will become Bertha, it looks like. So if you're just joining us, we are live at 11:14, and we're streaming. We like streaming around the clock, not only for storms, breaking weather, breaking news. We're always here at First Coast News, but just getting word here, an update that we have Tropical Depression 2 right now that has formed with 30-mile-per-hour winds, pressure at 1,011. And it's going to be slowly drifting. Look at that drifting north-northwest at 2 at this point. So what it means for us in Jacksonville, even though it's heading west, we know what happens, right? With tropical systems, we don't focus on the bubbles. You see the big red circle there. We don't focus on the cones. We focus on impact. So I've got the very latest on that here. And as we go through the afternoon, today and tomorrow, we're going to have some increasing storms and squally weather. So we've got that weather impact alert for 2 p.m. to 8 p.m., both today and tomorrow. And then what we're talking about are tropical downpours, flooding, isolated flooding at this point, and wind gusts of 40 to 60 miles per hour. So even though we're on the eastern fringe of this developing tropical storm, we're still going to feel the impact. So we're keeping our guard up, staying weather aware, have your weather apps handy. Things could rapidly change with the weather this afternoon, especially if you're to the south and just to the southwest of Jacksonville. It's wherever that feeder band sets up. Basically, you got a big train of tropical moisture feeding in toward this developing tropical system. And yes, if somebody's going to get hit, that's the key here. Not everybody's going to see the rain. But at the point, if you get under one of those bands, it's going to be a nasty afternoon. So we've got you covered with the weather impact alert. Let's take a look at where the bands are right now. Well, they have big bands and toward western Florida. No surprise there. Watching Pinellas County, and it's pretty amazing. You go right across the bridges there from Pinellas into Hillsborough, and you're looking at a totally different story. So really, the big impacts with this system, the actual impacts that can cause the best chance of flooding this afternoon, not necessarily for us, even though we have the isolated severe weather, not necessarily I-75. It's right along the coastline there. And also watching Manatee County as well, right? So that's just right there. Sarasota, watching that area as well, up toward Tampa, as this continues to slowly wind up. We take a look at our forecast winds. Here it is. Notice the circulation. We said it would intensify. This is as we go through 4 o'clock tomorrow. So we're watching the wind and the circulation become better organized and intensify. So if you look at the wind chart up there, notice we've got the sustained winds likely where we need them for a tropical storm by tomorrow. Okay, so depression today, likely a tropical storm tomorrow. Some wind gusts in Pinellas and toward Tampa, 30 to 40 miles per hour. Here at home, we could have some gusts around 20, 25, so that'll be pretty interesting. Fresh south breezes, but again, what is that doing? It's bringing up plenty of moisture feed for those storms in the afternoon. Then as we go into Tuesday, notice the big key, it's moving west, right? Starting to move west, but notice even stronger. You're getting some purples in there, dark browns. So you're talking about maybe a stronger tropical storm as we go into Tuesday. And again, your highest winds gusts and really the biggest impacts with this, all right, really the panhandle of Florida in the extreme west coast of Florida, the extreme west coast, right on the coast there. And then we're going to have to watch New Orleans and maybe even Texas based on some of the latest tracks here. This thing could just meander and continue across the northern Gulf all the way to Texas. It'll be pretty interesting for sure. We look at our tropical storm names, and there we've had Arthur already, okay, so we know about that. Bertha would be the name of our depression as it's likely to intensify. All right, so there's our list here. And as we look at the overall picture and our tropical headlines, a high chance of Bertha forming in the northern Gulf. Okay, so everything's on track with the depression update here at 11 a.m. First coast stays on the eastern fringe. Yep, in eastern fringe, but we're still getting impacts. All right, so we know what it's all about here. We're going to be extra safe on the roadways, lower visibilities, some torrential rains in spots, and those gusty storms will be with us through today and tomorrow, all right, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. on the best chance of seeing those gusty storms. We take a look outside right now, and all is well, but we said, yeah, it's a day where we're going to see rapidly changing weather out there, so we got some sunshine. And as we go through the afternoon, you know, we've got folks going to watch parties. I think my wife and I, my wife has some errands for me to run a little later on this afternoon. So I would be the one that could get caught in the rain later this afternoon. So the later we go on into the afternoon, the better chance. So I think we're okay getting to the Argentina-Spain watch parties at Jack's Block or wherever you're heading out. Now, during the game, and then as we get toward 5, 6 o'clock as it's finishing up, it's the late afternoon and the drive home I'm most concerned about. So right now you're looking at Weather Impact Live. If you're joining us, we're live at 11:19, informing you that we have a new tropical depression and that some of that moisture feed, one of its outer bands, is going to start to fill in this afternoon. And we do have that weather impact alert as a result between 2 and 8 o'clock. Latest model data, there it is. We've got the storms peaking between 5 and 6 p.m. Before then, hydrate before it's too late. All right, low to mid 90s for highs, feels like 100 to 105. This evening overall, I'm looking forward to my little light dog walk with Cooper. I'm going to get it in, and you should too. I think things will really settle down. Yeah, right, 7, 8 o'clock, we can grill out. Things will settle down, looking good by 8 p.m. And then overnight tonight, a little lull in the action. Okay, so here's one of the models. We love seeing all the updates from this. Let's see what we got here going on. So this is one of the newer runs, Sunday, 4 o'clock. You can see as we get to 4 or 5 o'clock, better chances of storms. And then there's that frisky line. There's going to be a nasty line that comes through. And the question is, where's that line set up? Right now, really Jacksonville, south and southwest. So we're watching Palm Coast, St. Augustine, maybe nipping up toward Nocatee, Sawgrass, St. John's, and up to just to the south toward Mandarin. I know we need the rain, right? And then back toward Middleburg, Clay County, western Duval County. So we'll see. These models are just a guide. We do know there's going to be a big band setting up this afternoon, but right now it looks like the best chance to the south and southwest of Jacksonville. Notice as it tries to traverse a little farther north, a little more stability, less moisture to work with. So really the farther south and west you go, the better chance of seeing one of those gusty storms this afternoon. Now, we go through this evening. There's the nice quiet and the calm. Tomorrow morning, if you look to the west, we could have some showers and storms reform by noon to 2 o'clock, especially toward Palatka, Lake City. I'll be with you on Good Morning Jacksonville. I think we're going to be dry getting to work, getting the kids to summer camp. But then in the afternoon, once again, active. And some of those, that band, we're going to have more moisture to work with, okay, farther north. So areas that missed out on the rain yesterday, a little better chance as we head into tomorrow, especially up toward the north of I-10, right? So we got St. Mary's, St. George, and Folkestone getting in on some of those downpours, and that's one of those feeder bands heading toward the center of what likely will be Bertha by 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and then things will settle down. So giving us a really good look. Models, I think, are doing a good job at this point. And as we look at that overall 7-day forecast, you can see we've got the red shading, that little red candy cane shading, just reminding you, slow it down. We've got, we're used to thunderstorms here in Florida on the first coast, but this is a kind of a nasty setup. When you get some of these feeder bands from a developing tropical system, we got to watch it closely. Also, we got a lot of travelers plans out there today and tomorrow, and with this developing tropical storm, big impacts, especially the farther west you go toward the west coast of Florida, the Panhandle, and for our friends along the Gulf Coast. So definitely a situation to keep checking back And then by Tuesday, I did lower the rain chance, although we still have that south wind 10 to 20. That can be tricky. Maybe on Tuesday I said fewer storms, but there'll be a few storms around. But notice once we try out this week, Bertha is going to start wrapping in some very dry, hot air. I mean, that's 96 as we go into Wednesday and Thursday. And then maybe a repeat late next week and next weekend with another low pressure here forming close to home. Let's take a look at what's going on with the hurricane hunters today. Well, we've got they're leaving at 1 p.m. and the U.S. Air Force Teal 71. All right, and their mission is to go low. All right, so you want to get the best data you can with these developing tropical systems. They'll drop the drop sounds. They'll indicate what things are doing with the winds at the surface. It's going to help us a lot. So they'll be out there at least for a few hours. So the exciting part is as we stream at 2 o'clock today, we should have an update on some of that hurricane hunter information. All right, that'll be exciting, and that'll help us fine-tune everything as well. Right now, high confidence, very high confidence. This will be at least a tropical storm. Intensity still to be determined, how strong it gets, and high confidence on the track, slowly moving away from the first coast. And then notice some more hurricane hunter scheduled times for tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. Here's the latest Euro. I love showing this. This is one of my faves to go to, but really this, I look at dozens of models. This is actually doing really well compared to the models I trust, and really a good average of some of the best models we're looking at as meteorologists right now. And this is why there's a high confidence in its track and what's happening. You see the Euro really showing it slowly meander in the next 2 days. That's why I don't have really much of a change in the forecast this afternoon, tomorrow afternoon. Notice plenty of moisture to work with. And then by Tuesday, really becoming a little better wound up there, right? Okay, and we'll see if that actually gets close to land. So if there's something we're going to watch, is it actually going to head to the north, go over land toward Pensacola on Wednesday, or will it stay over the northern Gulf? And of course, the question marks on that will be determined, it looks like, once we get some more data from the hurricane hunters out there. But again, some of our best models just keep it rolling to the west. All right, and if that happens, it would be even stronger. But for us, again, we're on the fringes of this, and we will have some impacts. And it does include some of those gusty thunderstorms. And you see the red there. I want you to make sure 2 to 8 o'clock today with the biggest impacts, and at least it'll cool us down and give us some needed rain. But again, can't rule out a severe thunderstorm or two, especially south and southwest of Jacksonville. Here's another look. Here's a high-resolution model. So the first model was an in-house model I showed you, so I like showing you as many models as I can. And this is showing, again, some bigger storms south and west of Jacksonville. There's 450, and there it is. Good agreement. There will be a second nasty feeder band coming at us. And this is getting close to 7:30. That's why I left that window up until at least 8 o'clock on some of these storms. So, again, keep checking in with us. And, of course, meteorologist Lee Southwick will be with you as we go through the evening, giving you the latest on the positioning and the exact track of that line of showers and storms. And as we look at the overall severe weather outlook, another reason I issued the impact alert this morning, to better be safe, right? So we got that marginal risk now, lightning, tropical storms, wind gusts of 40 to 60 from the Storm Prediction Center. And, the green goes really I-95 all the way to the west coast of Florida for the strongest storms. Now, a lot of folks have been asking, can we get some needed rain? Well, here's the deal. Even though we do have some showers and storms in the forecast the next 2 afternoons, look at the last few loops here. You see what's happening? Yeah, we're going to get a tropical surge, but it's also to the point where it's going to be moving farther west by Tuesday and Wednesday. And that's, if anything, you see the lighter colors, it's going to wrap in some dry air. So that's going to hold down our rainfall totals here in northeast Florida, South Georgia for sure, and then maybe some more action coming by next weekend. But if you look at our moisture content, you see the graph going way up by later this afternoon, tomorrow, and then taking the dip as the storm system, what will be Bertha, moves away. So that's why we've got Sunday and Monday with the highest rain chances, drying out, heating up by midweek, and then next weekend could be interesting again with maybe another Gulf flow heading our way. Here's some of the rainfall totals. You get under one of those squally bands, you could easily see 2 or more inches of rain today and tomorrow. But again, it's not a widespread drenching rain like we're seeing over the Gulf Coast, the west coast of Florida, Pinellas County, watching you very closely, Pasco County, back into Manatee counties on the west coast could see several inches of rain. And some of that rain could move up into the Big Bend and the west coast of Florida toward Panama City and the Panhandle. So keep checking back. One look before we say goodbye is the 10-day forecast. We've got weather impact alerts the next couple of afternoons, then heating up, and then some more needed rain by late next week. We'll keep you updated, and of course, we'll be back at 2 o'clock as the hurricane hunters send us some new information. But for now, Tropical Depression number 2 has formed in the tropics, still expected to move away from Jacksonville the next couple of days, but still will have some impacts